प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम्। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। I welcome you all with my love and respects. Drop everything and surrender. This is the gist, essence of not only the Bhagavad Gita, all spiritual teachings given by all masters. Here, Krishna concludes the whole Bhagavad Gita with this one subject: drop everything and surrender. Beautifully he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam yekam saranam vraja agam tva sarva bhabebhyo moksha yikshami ma suchaha. Drop everything, whatever you know as dharma, whatever you know as life, whatever you know, just drop everything and surrender, because whatever you know is your knowledge. You know, that's all, but that cannot lead you to the ultimate. Whatever you know, even your knowledge about God, can create only one more bondage, because you will not know God You will know about God, that's all. Please understand, knowing about God is not knowing God. Knowing about God is different. Knowing God is different. When you completely surrender everything, you will not even have the idea that you know God. Then you know God. Even that idea that you know God will not exist in you. Then you can be sure you know God. Otherwise, you may know about God, but not exactly what is divine. All our idea about spirituality, meditation, anything, forget about the ordinary worldly ideas. Even our so-called spiritual ideas is only our ideas. We think that is true, that's all. But we do not know what is the truth. Moreover, all your so-called understanding or spiritual practice is within this complete dream. The whole thing is dream. In this dream, you are trying to do some practice. You are trying to do some technique. You are trying to do some understanding. How can you expect your effort can lead you to the ultimate? Please be very clear. If at all our effort can lead us to enlightenment, long before there would have been enlightenment shops. Long before, our guys would have created a clear thing. How many days you need to work, what way you need to work, what is the thing, and here is the enlightenment check. Have it. Long before we would have had emails, and you can shop enlightenment through internet. Everything would have happened. Be very clear. Actually, in the ultimate experience, your effort is no way bringing the ultimate experience in your life. It is not connected. It is not proportional. Understand? You go and buy a lottery ticket for $1. Suddenly you get a $1 million. Can you say you earned that $1 million? No. Never. You can say the word you earned it. It is pure gift. Same way, always enlightenment is gift. Please be very clear. Whatever effort you can make, whatever you may do, hundreds of years of standing in one leg, thousands of years of fasting, any yoga, any meditation, any technique, everything is equivalent to $1 lottery. Everything, whatever you can give is only $1 lottery. But what you get is pure gift. It is pure gift. Whatever you are doing inside the dream. How can that get you something which is beyond the dream? If you do something inside the dream, it can never get you something which is beyond the dream. Here, Krishna says, drop everything and surrender. First of all, let us understand surrender. The word frightens people. The word really frightens people. First thing, we need to understand, when I say the word surrender, be very clear, you are not going to lose anything by surrender. You are only going to gain everything. You are only going to gain everything. It is just because we have no other word, we are using the word surrender. First thing, we always think as if we have something to surrender. That has to be understood. We have nothing to surrender. It is just opening your eyes and understanding whatever is divine and existence. Whatever we think as ours, nothing like ours exists. The I and me, I and mine, which we are holding, is a pure lie. The moment you understand, you surrender. The moment you surrender, you understand. Whatever you say as mine, legally it is true, but existentially it is not true. Legally you can fence a part of land and say it is yours. Legally you can say have some products and say it is yours. But nature do not know. Existence do not know it is yours. If one cyclone comes, it doesn't know whose property it is. It doesn't know all the law. It doesn't know legally you are not allowed in others' properties. For existence, there is no law. All your mind is protected or supported just by law. Law of the society. We use the word law of the land. Please be very clear, it's a wrong word. Land has no law. Only society has got law. Land has no law. Anytime it can have earthquake. And it has no law. Law of the land is beyond your comprehension. As long as you are caught with this concept of I and mine, you will not be able to realize the truth of existence. You are caught thinking something is you, something is yours. Here, Krishna says, Krishna means when he says surrender, when he says drop everything, he means open your eyes and see the foolishness. Just open the eyes and understand the drama which you are doing. Just open the eyes and understand what game you are playing. The game, if you are playing to cheat others, it's okay. But don't cheat yourself. By and by, we forget. We started this game to cheat others, and now we are cheating ourselves with this game. There is no I, there is no mine. Person who is intelligent, who is ready to open his eyes and see what is reality, he will suddenly realize, wake up to the truth. There is no I, there is no mine. Be very clear, whatever you think as I, you think your body is I, your mind is I. Can it function without the air? Can you say air belongs to you? The basic energy, the prana, which goes in and comes out, doesn't belong to you. If that stops functioning, immediately whatever you think as you will disappear, will not be there. It's like you say, no, foundation doesn't belong to me, but the first floor belongs to me. You can do that legally, but existentially, it is not possible. We are in the same way. Building may belong to you, but earth do not belong to you. Earth doesn't listen to you. When it wants, it just gives one shake. Only a small shake. And whatever you think as you are building, what happens to it? Just disappears. Understand? Whatever you think as you, its very foundation doesn't belong to you. Its very foundation doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the whole. It belongs to existence. It belongs to universe with which continuously you are fighting. It belongs to nature. Please understand, whatever you think as you, the root or base of it doesn't belong to you. You may be thinking, because continuously the air goes and comes out, the breathing is happening, you take that for granted. By and by you start believing it belongs to you. It belongs to you. Because there is no gap. Once in a while, if God does the drama of strike, just like workers' union strike, if you don't do properly things, if he just says, all right, 1 minute strike, then we will understand it doesn't belong to us. He is Karuna Murti. Out of his compassion, he never does strike. That is the reason we take life for granted. We take life for granted. And just because something belongs to us legally, we think the mind is something solid. The I and mind both has no base. The person who is intelligent enough to open his eyes and see whatever he thinks as I, whatever he thinks as mine, both are just drama. What he thinks as I is not under his control. Any moment, the air which goes, if it doesn't come out, over. I disappears. Immediately your name will be removed and you will be given a new name, dead body. And straight away you will be taken to the place where you will rest once for all. Your house will not be useful. Your car will not be useful. Nothing will be useful. What you think as I is baseless. Same way, what you think as mine, again that is a baseless. How you say this land is yours? Because legally it belongs to you. But existentially it doesn't belong to you. One hurricane is enough, or one earthquake is enough. Earthquake doesn't know it belongs to somebody. Hurricane doesn't know it belongs to somebody. Nature do not know it belongs to you. Only law of the society knows it belongs to you. Next thing, if you just see the record, you will understand how many hundreds of people have claimed that land belongs to them. In last 100 years, how many have claimed that land belongs to them? You will be surprised. There will be hundreds of people who claimed that land belongs to them. But it doesn't belong to anybody. It is just paperwork. Nothing but paperwork. Your whole life is built on pure paperwork. The moment you have eyes, intelligence to see, the moment you wake up to this reality, you achieve surrender. When you understand the existence, nothing called I or mine exists, immediately you experience a tremendous relief from continuously protecting you and yours. These two instincts is the reason for all physical and mental problems. Instinct to survive and instinct to possess. Instinct to survive as you are. All physical and mental problem, the root cause is these two. When you understand the I and mine doesn't exist, suddenly you wake up and start laughing. How you are cheating yourself, how you are wasting your life, how foolish you were, spending your whole energy, whole life in building sand castles. Small Zen story. Kids were playing in the beach. They built sand castles. Whole day they worked and built the sand castles. In the end, night time, they were about to leave, they all jumped on the castle and destroyed the whole thing. And they enjoyed and went away. There was a Zen master sitting, seeing the whole scene. He told his disciples, this is what I call life. One beautiful thing is that kids, they know the whole thing is drama. Building or demolishing. That is why they are not affected. In our so-called real life, we do not understand this real truth. Actually, our life is a pseudo-life. What kids do, that is real life. Because they understand it has no value. It is created and it will be demolished. They don't sit there and cry. They are not emotionally disturbed. They are not having any problem. But if our castles are shaken, we have so much of problem. Be very clear. We don't have even that much understanding. All castles will be shaken. All palaces will be destroyed. The whole thing is just pure fun. When you understand whatever we build, whatever way we live, and it doesn't belong to us. If you don't internalize the outwardly incidents, you will experience what I call surrender. Only one thing, just do not internalize. Don't take things too seriously. When you take life too seriously, you can be sure of one thing, sickness. All seriousness is pure sickness. When you think the I or mine is truth, be very clear, you create trouble for yourself. The moment you say, the moment you believe that there is something called I in your being, that there is something exists as I in your being, that moment you start moving away from life. One more thing, your idea about you, your idea of I, your idea about whatever you think as I, whatever you think as yourself, sometimes you catch the body as I, sometimes you catch the mind as I, sometimes you catch the senses as I. Whatever you may think as I, be very clear, it has no base. It has no base. One more thing, whenever you catch something as you don't allow that to grow. If you catch your body as you stop the growth of body because you don't like change. When you think your mind is you stop the growth of the mind. You do not allow further input inside your mind. That is why egoistic people can never listen or read. They can never learn. Egoistic people can never learn anything in their life. Because learning is against their vested interests. Egoistic people will always think, I know, why should I learn? The very attitude of learning, the beginner's mind will be lost when you think your mind is you. Wherever you sit, you will destroy it. If you think your body, you will not allow the body to rejuvenate itself. You will not allow the body to do its regular work. If you think your mind, again you will not learn anything new. You will say, I know everything. You are not ready for change. Whatever you think as you destroy that. You destroy that. Same way, mind. Mind is just based on the law of the society. No way it is related to laws of the existence. Here, Krishna starts with a beautiful sloka. Arjuna uvacha. After 3-4 chapters, again Arjuna is speaking. Of course, he is going to stop once for all. So he is just speaking 2-3 words. Here again, he is not questioning. He is just expressing few doubts. The arrogance or the violence in Arjuna's being has disappeared because of the experience showered on him by Sri Krishna. He has become just like a flower and he is expressing only 1 or 2 doubts so that he can have few more words from Krishna. Now, it is not, I can't even say this is a doubt. Just he wants to listen the truth once more, again and again. Sometimes I have seen people, after listening the whole discourse, after the whole thing, the end of the discourse they will come back and they will ask me, Swamiji, why did you say that story, that joke? It was so nice. Please tell me. Just now they heard, but they wanted to hear once more. They wanted to enjoy once more. There are few things, again and again when you listen, it gives you more and more joy. It gives you more and more pleasant feeling. Arjuna asks, Arjuna uvacha sanyasasya mahabaho tattvamichchami vedidum tyagasya cha rishikesa pradakkeshu nisedanaha. Arjuna said, Oh, mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation and of the renounced order of life, sannyasa. O Rishikesa, please tell me the truth. Again, as I was telling you, it is not that Arjuna do not know. He heard the whole thing, but just he wants to listen once more. Sometimes you enjoy few things listening once more. A small story. One guy rings up to the lawyer's office and asks, can I talk to lawyer? He is my ex-wife's lawyer. The secretary says, sorry, just last night he died. He said, okay. After 10 minutes, again he rings up and asks, ma'am, can I talk to my ex-wife's lawyer? She says, just 10 minutes ago I told you, he died last night, he can't speak with you. After 10 minutes, again he calls and he asks, ma'am, can I speak to my ex-wife's lawyer? She says, sir, I told you, you can't speak to him. He is dead. You can't talk to him. Why are you again and again ringing up? Now he says, yes, I understood. He is died. But I am so happy to listen that again and again. Sometimes it is not that you don't understand. You understand. You wanted to listen that again and again. You enjoy listening few things again and again. Here, Arjuna enjoys listening the same truth again. When something gives you joy, you wanted to listen that again and again. And Nischayam srunu me tatra tyage bharata sattama tyago hi purusha vyakra trividas samprakirtitaha. Bharata, now hear my judgment about renunciation. Renunciation is many ways. Let me explain the truth. And Bhagavan now starts the explanation. Bhagavan Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sanyasam kavayo viduhu sarva karma balatyagam prayagustyagam vichakshana. Bhagavan says, giving up of the activities based on the material desire is called as renunciation by some great soul, great learned men. And some people say giving the results is tyaga. Some say giving up the activity, some say giving up the result. No other master is so compassionate like Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is ultimate master. Not only he gives his teachings, he knows people can't believe. He knows people cannot believe. It takes time. He supports the whole teachings with logic. All his teachings are supported by logic. Again and again, he tries his best to convince the Arjuna. See, for his level, there is no need for him to talk to the level of Arjuna. He can straight away tell, this is the truth. If you want, do, otherwise get out. I have too much of work. But he is not doing that. He is so compassionate. Again and again, he comes down and explains step by step all the truths. Yetanya karmani sangam tyaktva palani cha kartavyadini me partha nischidam madamuttamam. All these activities should be performed without attachment or expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. Son of Partha is my final opinion. Please understand, now Krishna gives his idea. Earlier he said, some say giving up the activity is sannyasa, some say giving up the results is sannyasa. Now he says, my opinion is living without attachment. This has to be understood in depth. Whether it is a spiritual activity or worldly activity, as long as you struggle with a purpose, you struggle with a goal, please be very clear, you can never relax. You can never relax. Person who surrenders to the flow of life, he experiences the inner space and the outer space both at a time. He enjoys the outer space and the inner space both at a time. Throughout these 17 chapters, what Krishna said, he is giving the gist. Let me give you a small diagram of importance of surrender, or what I mean by the word surrender. Then we may be able to understand. This is material life. This is spiritual life. This is your being. You have the goal here. You have some goal. In material life, you have some goal. In spiritual life, you have some goal. To achieve the material life goal, you are continuously struggling and working. You are somewhere here. To achieve the spiritual life goal, again you are working intensely doing yoga, pranayama, pratyahara, all spiritual practices. You are somewhere, when you struggle with material life, you are somewhere here. When you struggle with the spiritual life, you are somewhere here. Please understand, as long as you are struggling, either you can struggle in this direction or in this direction. This is your being. This is your being. As long as you struggle for the material life, you will be avoiding the spiritual life and struggling. As long as you struggle for spiritual life, you will be avoiding the material life and you will be struggling. Both are struggles. You choose either material or spiritual, either horizontal or vertical. Krishna says, relax from both. You may think, what is this? What funny instruction he is giving? If I relax from both, I will lose both. Please understand, when you relax from both, you simply fall into your inner consciousness, into your being, into your inner space. And this space, your inner space, when you experience your inner consciousness, suddenly you realize you can explode in all directions. You don't have to choose between horizontal line and vertical line. You can travel in both the lines at a time. Not only that, you can explode in all directions. But the big difficulty is you need to surrender at least to your own being. You don't need to surrender to somebody else. To whom you surrender is not important. Just relax into your being. Just relax into your inner space. Just relax into your consciousness. Just surrender to your own inner space. Stop the struggle in the material world or in the spiritual world. In the material world, mind, the properties are the goal. You have some goal to achieve. So you are struggling towards that goal. Same way in the spiritual world. Please understand, spiritual world also by and by we fix the goal. Enlightenment or some goal. And we try to run towards that goal. According to me, the spiritual goal creates more ego than material goal. At least with material goal, you will understand at some point you cannot achieve and it is too tiring. But with the spiritual goal, you don't even understand what you are doing. Both the goals are taking away your being from your being. When you surrender and relax into your being, suddenly you realize you are not mind or body to choose between horizontal or vertical line. Please understand, as long as you believe you are mind, you will be forced to choose between horizontal or vertical line. Mind always chooses. You will be in dilemma. Mind and dilemma are one and the same. One more thing, the moment you come out of dilemma, mind cannot exist. Mind can exist as long as you have dilemmas. As long as you have confusions, mind can exist. Just tell me, have you seen your mind existing even for a single moment without dilemma? No. You may have dilemma to answer this question, that's all. You may have dilemma to answer this question. Mind never exists without dilemma. It continues to exist in the dilemma, whether this is right or that is right. A small story. One guy sitting in the house and loudly crying. Usually men don't cry loudly. This guy is crying loudly. Wife came down and asked, What happened? Why are you crying so loudly? He said, do you remember 20 years ago, your father caught us red-handedly when we were together, and he threatened me, if I don't marry you, he will put me in the jail. She says, yes, I remember. What is there? If that has happened, if I would have accepted for that, today I would have been freed. Today I would have been liberated. When you choose, whatever you choose, at some one day, you will be thinking or bothering about your choice. Mind exists only with dilemmas. It is dilemma which is a base for your whole mind. As long as you are mind, you will be choosing between material and spiritual world. People who take up material life always feel they are missing spiritual life. People who take up spiritual life always feel they are missing material life. You choose between the two. Here, first time Krishna is giving ultimate technique for quantum spirituality. He is the first quantum scientist in the inner world. In the inner world. He gives a technique for quantum spirituality. He says, relax and surrender. Suddenly, you will experience the intensity of your consciousness. You will understand you don't have to choose between horizontal line and vertical line. You can explode in all the 360 degree. You don't have to choose between this line and that line. You don't have to take choice. Please be very clear. Only when you experience the choicelessness. When I say choicelessness, I don't mean you will not choose anything. You will choose everything. You will have everything. When I say surrender, I do not mean the dead surrender. I have seen so many people saying, Swamiji, I surrendered everything to God. I surrendered everything to divine. I surrendered everything to existence. But you will see it will be only in the level of words, not in the level of reality, not in the level of existence. People make funny statements. Swamiji, I surrendered everything to God, but just please bless me so that I should have good job. I should have a little more paying job. As of now I have this job, but if you can bless me to have a little better job, it will be really nice. Please be very clear, our surrender is pseudo. Our surrender is pseudo. Before making any statement, be very clear about what you are speaking. Sometimes we make statements without even knowing the meaning. So many people, they will come and tell me, Swamiji, I surrendered everything to you. Please give me a little mental peace. I tell them, please come for one meditation program. No, 2 days I cannot afford. Just now they said, they have surrendered everything to me. And they say, I cannot afford 2 days. Sometimes we make statements without knowing the situation or the reality. Small story. One journalist, a reporter, he saw a crowd gathered around an accident in the road. He tried his best to get in, to see. He is not able to. He suddenly started shouting, oh my son is got in the accident. Please give me the way, give me the way. He started shouting. People all gave way. He just went near and saw one donkey was lying in front of the car. There was a donkey in front of the car. Please be very clear. Before making any statement, know the situation. Without knowing, when you make statement, you are the person who is going to suffer. With the surrender also, we make statements without knowing the truth. With the real surrender, you don't exclude anything, you include everything. You just experience the whole. You explode in all the directions. You just experience horizontal line and vertical line and something more, which you have never imagined. You will experience the different dimensions of your own being. When I say surrender, I don't mean you need to surrender to somebody. There is no need to surrender to somebody. There is no need to surrender to some other God, some other guru. Of course, God or guru is just a symbol. You don't have to surrender to that God or that guru. Just surrender to your own consciousness, your own inner space. But you never respect or trust your inner space. That is why in the initial level you need God, you need guru. The other day, somebody was asking, Swamiji, if I surrender to you, what should I do? I said, if you really surrender to me, you will not have that question, what should I do? You will be simply guided from within. You will be simply guided from within. People come and ask me, yes Swamiji, I surrendered everything, now what should I do? When you really surrender, you will not have this very question. The very question will not exist. Simply, you will surrender the whole being. When you are completely surrendered, you will see your intuition or the divine intelligence automatically guides you. As long as you have doubts, be very clear, you have not surrendered. You have not surrendered. Here, Krishna says beautifully about the surrender. Adhishtanam tadakarta karanam cha pratakvitam vividascha prataksheshta daivam chaivatra panjamam. The place of action, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the Paramatman. These are the 5 factors of action. Here he says the factors of action. And the next step, Tatraivam sadigartaram atmanam kevalam tuyaha pashyat krita buddhitvan sapashyadi durmati. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Now he gives the exact technology of surrender. In these 2 sloka, these 2 sloka can be called as stotra and shastra and sutra. Shastra means which shows you the goal. Stotra means which is out of devotion. Sutra means which gives you the technology. In these 2 sloka, he gives you the exact technology of surrender. Understand? Whatever you think as you is totality of so many things, and individually everything is responsible for something, but suddenly you start thinking you are responsible for the whole thing. You are responsible for the whole thing. That is where the trouble starts. That is where the trouble starts. And he gives the technology how to experience the deeper levels of surrender. 3 levels of surrender exist. One is intellectual surrender, means trusting the master's intellect is much sharper, much more than your intellect, is intellectual surrender. Next, emotional surrender, surrendering the emotions, trusting that master's emotions or the way in which he guides is much more intelligent, that is best than my emotions. Third, surrendering the very senses, very cognition, the cognition which happens inside you, surrendering the root of the cognition itself. Here, surrendering the intellect is very easy because it continuously tortures you. After some years, you have suffered enough with the intellect. You somehow wanted to get rid of it. You just surrender. Surrendering intellect is very, very easy. Just if you see somebody who is more intelligent, clear than your thinking system, you just surrender. For example, if you go to a consultant, naturally you surrender intellectually. You surrender to his ideas. If you go to a lawyer, you surrender legally. You know in that field he is more sharp than you. So you surrender to lawyer in that field. When you go to some accountant, you surrender to him intellectually as far as the accounts concerned, because he knows much more than you in that field. Intellectual surrender is easy. Same way, if you see somebody who has got more knowledge in the spiritual field, intellectually, immediately your intellect surrenders. That's not a big thing. Surrendering intellectually happens very easily. Moreover, you just wanted to get rid of it. You are finding somebody, you are finding some dustbin where you can dump your intellect. So when you find somebody, you just relax from it. Next is emotional surrender. That happens when you feel deeply connected with the Master. When you feel deeply connected with the Master. When you start experiencing one or two things, little meditation, little bit of understanding, naturally the emotional surrender starts happening. You start respecting his emotions much more than your emotions. Master's emotions means whatever he tries to guide you, whatever way he wants you to live, you start giving importance to that more than what you think as life. Slowly, slowly, he becomes the center of your life. Almost like you start respecting him more than all other emotional attachments. The priority is slowly changing. You start thinking in your emotion, in your emotional level, Master comes as a number one priority. This is what I call emotional surrender. In the emotional level, you feel connected. Next, a deep level, of course, it's a spiritual technique. Because you all heard enough of these intellectual things, these 17 days, I think now you should understand the deeper levels of techniques. Surrender of senses means even your senses will listen to what he says. One disciple asked the Rishi, Vedic Rishi, why should I surrender? What is the need? Master asked, as far as you understand as you, how do you know you? He says, through my senses. According to your senses, who are you? I am this body and mind. Master says, according to your senses, you are body and mind. But according to me, you are God. Only when you surrender your senses, only when your senses starts listening to what I say, you will see the truth of what I am explaining. According to you, according to your senses, you are body and mind. But according to me, you are God. When you surrender your senses, when you believe me more than your senses, you will experience you are God. He says, The moment you believe me, more than your senses, you will understand the meaning of Tattvamasi. Master again and again represents the ideal of you are God. Please understand, again I tell you, I am not here to prove I am God, I am here to prove you are God. Again and again, he stands for the ideal of you are infinite. There are so many dimensions in your being which you have not explored, which you have not experienced. Again and again, he is showing so many dimensions of your being to yourself. He is showing so many dimensions of your being to yourself. Master stands for your multidimensional being. He again and again shows it is possible for you. When it is possible for me, why not for you? But as long as you believe your senses, you will be sure that your body or mind. Only when you trust Master more than your senses, you will understand Master's words are true than your senses. Then you will experience the truth of Master's words. Then when Master says you are God, suddenly you will realize, yes, that is truth. All these days, my body and mind, my senses are telling, I am body and mind. As long as you believe your senses, you will believe only their ideas. The moment you start believing the Master more than your senses, you will realize the truth which Master explains. Two persons are speaking from two stages. One side your senses, they are saying you are body, you are mind. The other side Master is sitting, he is saying you are God and you are divine. You have so many dimensions of your being. Enjoy everything, experience everything. If you are sitting there and listening, you cannot listen this. Only when you believe this, the words of the Masters, more than the words of the senses, you will be able to experience the truth that you are God. You are ultimate. You are material and spiritual both together and something more. Let me tell you a small incident in Krishna's life. After the Gita, Krishna and Arjuna, both of them are going somewhere. After the war, everything is over. Maybe for a picnic, outing. Suddenly Krishna says, Arjuna, see that white color crows. Arjuna says, yes, beautiful white crows. After 2 minutes, Krishna says, no, they are black crows only. Arjuna says, yes, Krishna, they are black crows only. Suddenly Krishna asks, fool, what happened to you? When I say white, you say white. When I say black, you say black. What happened to you? What happened to your senses? Arjuna says, Krishna, I do not know what happened to my senses. But one thing is sure, when you said it is white, I saw them as white. When you said they are black, I saw them as black. I do not know what happened to my senses. I do not know what happened to me. One thing is sure, the crow is not going to give me life. You are my life. I do not know logically whether the crow is white or black. But I saw as you directed. When you said it is white, I saw it as white. When you said it is black, I saw that as black. In the inner world, the first and last tool which you need is complete surrender. Complete surrender. Only then you can wake up to the truth. You can wake up to the truth. Then Krishna says, you are right. Because you started trusting me more than your senses. If Arjuna is trusting his senses, at the most, he would have been a good warrior, good king. But because he trusted Krishna more than his senses, he has become enlightened. Krishna says, if you trusted your senses, you would have at the most had good eyes. You would have seen the black crow as black crow and white crow as white crow. That's not a big deal. We are all seeing that way only. And that's not a big deal. Because you trusted me more than your senses, you have become enlightened. You are liberated. And he has experienced the truth of Krishna. Understand? The truth of Krishna consciousness is experienced by surrendering the senses. Not just by intellect, not just by emotion, but by surrendering the very root of intellect and emotion, the senses, which supplies the data. The source of the data itself is surrendered. You receive all the information about you through senses. Please understand, you do not know about you. You respect yourself only by the data which you collected through the senses. If somebody says you are beautiful, you put the entry in your book, I am beautiful by so and so. If somebody says you are intelligent, then you put that entry, I am intelligent by so and so. If somebody says you are tall, dark and handsome, you put that tall, dark and handsome by so and so. If somebody says you are dumb, then you put I am dumb by so and so. The end of the day, you put all the things together and see the report, survey. You just see the survey report. Then you come to the conclusion, 72% of the people say I am intelligent. And next 20% they say I am dumb. There are few remaining people who don't want to say any words, who is not interested in any opinion. So understand whether you remember, whether you understand this way or that way. The end of the day, you see the survey report and you decide the gist of the report is you. When 70% people say, I think 70% may not be fools. I must be intelligent. You come to the conclusion about you only by others' opinions. Whole day you are in signature campaign. Continuously you are taking survey. You go around, please tell me something about me. Please tell something about me. You are continuously doing the signature campaign. Here Krishna says, surrender the very senses which gives you an idea about what you are. When you surrender the very root which gives you an idea about who you are, you will naturally experience you are neither body nor mind as you are suggested or advised, made to believe by the society. As long as you believe the senses, you will be believing your body and mind. Only when you believe the Master's words, when you trust the Master's words more than your senses, you realize the truth that you are divine. One side, all your senses are sitting and telling you you are body and mind. The other side, Master is telling you you are divine and you are in bliss. You are consciousness beyond body and mind. Now it is up to us what we are going to choose. If you believe the senses, you can't believe the Master. If you believe the Master, you can't believe the senses. Whether you are surrendered to your senses or surrendered to the Master will be decided based on your way of life. It is up to you to surrender to the Master or surrender to the senses. Here Krishna says, only when you understand all three levels of surrender, surrendering in the level of intellect, surrendering in the level of emotions, surrendering in the level of senses. Only when you experience all three, the ultimate experience of surrender happens to you. I tell you, the very surrender itself is enlightenment. Don't think after surrender enlightenment will be issued to you. No. Don't think you will surrender, then you will get a paycheck through courier. Enlightened, you are enlightened. No. The very surrender, that very moment you experience the truth. You experience the truth. Understand? We usually play with the words. Again and again, we play with the words. Whenever you play with the words, at least let you be aware you are playing with the words. I have seen people going and telling, Swamiji, I have surrendered to Krishna my whole life. I have surrendered to Venkateshwara. My whole life I surrendered to Shiva. Please bless me that my life should be happy. Understand, if you are really surrendered, you will never even ask that my life should be happy. And people come and ask me, I have surrendered to Venkateshwara, I surrendered to Krishna, should I do meditation camp, Swamiji? Please be very clear. If you are really surrendered, you don't need meditation camp. But as long as you have doubt, should I do the meditation camp or not, you need. If you have the idea that should I do or not, be very clear, surrender has not still happened. The moment you surrender, you disappear. There is a beautiful verse in Tamil. Let me explain the idea, then I will quote the verse. When you surrender I and mind to the divine, when you give I and mind to the existence, the Parashakti existence, he gives his I and mind to you. Both bank accounts merge, becomes one and the same, it becomes joint account. You have nothing to lose. Ordinarily, as long as you think the body and mind and being is yours, Sariram Rogamayam, Manam Sogamayam. Sariram Rogamayam, body is filled with diseases. Manas Sogamayam, mind is continuously depressed. What we have to surrender? Nothing except the body filled with disease and the mind filled with depression. When you drop that two at the feet of the divine, he gives his body and his mind. Sariram Devamayam, Mana Sukhamayam, and Atma Anandamayam. You get the third thing. Atma Anandamayam, free offer. When you offer the body and mind of yours, Sariram Rogamayam, Manas Sogamayam, he gives you Sariram Devamayam, Manas Sukhamayam, Atma Anandamayam. And there is a beautiful verse. Ramana Maharshi, he sings about the Arunachala. Tandadu Yendanai Kondadu Undanai Sadurar Yargolo Arunachala. The translation is, I gave me to you, but got you as in return. Who is more intelligent? Who is more intelligent? Understand, in surrender you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. Surrender is not like giving up something. I am not saying give up all your properties. No. Give up all whatever you have. No. Nothing is necessary. Keep everything with you. And just don't internalize them in your system. Just take care. You are not internalizing you. Only one thing. Don't judge you based on your properties. You are far more higher than what you think you are. Do not judge yourself based on your bank balance. Do not judge yourself based on your relationships. Do not judge yourself based on the name and fame. Do not judge yourself based on your friends, you are far more higher than all these things put together. As long as you are judging yourself based on all these things, you will be internalizing all these things in your being. All these things will be a major points. All these things will be the center of your life. All these things will be pulling and pushing you. You will not have you for your being. As long as these are the factors of your life, as long as these are the centers of your life, your bank balance, your relationship, your name and fame, be very clear, your life will be pulled and pushed by all these things. You are something far more higher than all these things put together. The whole thing you need to understand, just do not internalize all these things in your being. Understand you are something beyond. The moment you wake up to the truth, you cannot be just divided. You cannot be just put into one frame based on all these ideas of your balance, your bank balance, your relationship, your attitudes, your name and fame. Only these few things cannot judge you. I am something far more higher than all these things. The moment you wake up to this truth, you are surrendered. One bubble started thinking, I am an individual. I should become a strong bubble. Within that few seconds, it started thinking. Not only started thinking, started collecting other small 2-3 bubbles. And started getting one big bubble, you are my wife, support. Another one big bubble, hey, you are my son, support this side. You are my father, support this side. It started collecting some 10-12 bubbles and tried to save himself, tried to protect himself, and got 2-3 sand pieces or the small piece of sand from the beach, and he started telling, these are all my properties, these are all my treasures, this is my bank balance, this is my relationships, let me protect all of them. He tried to create a fence to protect his treasures and his relationships. How long he can play this game? For 2-3 more seconds before he even finishes his game, simply will disappear into the ocean. When he was created or when he existed, when he has disappeared, all the 3 moments, he is not away from the ocean. Even though he claims himself being away from the ocean, even though he thinks he is an individual, even though he says, I have all this bank balance, I have all this relationship, I have so many people around me, I have so many things around me. Understand, the whole thing will disappear in 1 second into the ocean back. Same way, in this universal consciousness, you just exist or you think you exist as an individual being for a few seconds. In that few seconds, you catch somebody as father, mother, son, brother, and you catch all of them and you feel safe, and you catch little bank balance and you feel secured, and in the end, because of all these things, from all their opinions, you collect an idea about you and you think you are that bubble. You play the game, suddenly the whole thing disappears. Please understand, before your game started, while you are playing the game, and after you end the game, whether you understand or not, realize it or not, experience or not, you are God. You belong to ocean. You are existence. Even though you think you are an individual self, even though you play the game and you start legally registering, these 2 bubbles are married and these 2 square feet is my land. You go to register bubble who is sitting there for 2-3 more years extra. And there's a big bubble. He claims, I am the ruler of this country. This area, anybody wants to register their land, they have to come to me. And among the bubbles there is an understanding. You will not hit me directly. I will not hit you directly. You will not take away my bubble. I will not take away your bubble. You have some understanding. The whole drama goes on. Whole thing is going on. Suddenly in single shana, in one moment, the whole thing is back again into the ocean. When I say surrender, just wake up to the truth. You are in ocean. When you are born, when you think your individual self, or after enlightenment, in all these 3 times, you are in the ocean. Just wake up to this truth. That is what I call surrender. Waking up to the ultimate truth is what I call surrender. Surrender the small ideas which you have about yourself and wake up to the reality of yourself. Then automatically what Krishna says as surrender will happen in your inner space, in your inner consciousness. Otherwise, we will be playing with the word surrender. We can use big words. We always use big words when we define ourselves. When we define ourselves. But we don't even understand that we are beyond all this description. Somebody came and told me, Swamiji, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. And he thought, of course, whenever you project about yourself, you have a guilt that you are having ego and you are in superiority complex. I told another one devotee, he is suffering with inferiority complex. This devotee asked me, what is this, Swamiji? He is just showing his ego and you are saying he is suffering with the inferiority complex. I told him, he is God. He is thinking himself as something else. That itself is inferiority. Whatever image you have about yourself, except you being God, is inferiority complex. You are suffering with inferiority complex. Whatever idea you may have about yourself, less than you being God, you are suffering with inferiority complex. Please be very clear. Just drop all your idea about yourself. Suddenly you will wake up to the truth. You are in the ocean. Some fishes, they swim along the current. Some fishes, they go against the current. Whether they go along with the current or against the current, they are in the water. Whether you experienced you are divine or you are not ready to experience, you are against the existence, both the time you are in the existence. Whether you realized you are divine or you are not ready to realize you are divine, both the time you are divine. There is no choice in that. Only one choice. You can realize and enjoy, or you can continue to suffer and struggle. That's all. You can continue to build fence for the bubbles. You can create little more strong fence, or you can say, come, stand close. Let there be some more bubbles. Let us become a big community. Then we may not die. Then we can tell the waves, hey, don't come. Stop as it is. We may exist. Whatever you may do, whatever we may think, please be very clear. The whole thing is just the drama of few seconds. Few seconds. Now understand one thing. Don't even bother that you are not able to surrender. That's another next problem. When people hear about all these things, they say, Swamiji, I am not able to surrender, what to do? Don't bother, you have nothing to surrender. Just understand, you have nothing to surrender, you already surrendered. There is nothing to surrender. Just relax, Whether you surrender or not, this is the truth. Understand, whether you surrender or not, existence is going to do. So naturally, if you understand whether I surrender or not, life is going to flow, automatically you will relax. That relaxation is what I call surrender. Just relax with the flow of life and wake up to the truth. You are something far more than what your mind and body suggests about you. Now you have suggestions from so many people. Your survey report, you have survey report, you do survey once in a while. How am I doing? What am I? Who am I? You have an idea based on your body and mind, your eye and mind about you. Now wake up to the truth. You are far more greater than what you think or what you are made to think as you are. You are just made to think you are this, you are that by the society. Now it is time to wake up to the truth. You are far more higher than what you are thinking. You are simply beyond all the imaginations which you are having about yourself, about your being. Surrender will give you new consciousness. You will not be the same old person. One single moment, if you experience the surrender, simply that single moment will transform your whole life. You will be a new being. There are 3 levels of birth, 3 kinds of garbhas explained in the scriptures. First is Bhugarbha. Bhugarbha means a normal birth. Women carries the garbha. Women carries a child in a womb and gives birth. This is called Bhugarbha. It happens in Mooladhara Chakra, in the lower level. Next, Hridgarbha. It happens only with artists, a real singer. He conceives the concept in the heart and delivers the music. He delivers a beautiful sculpture. He delivers a beautiful painting. Please understand, that is why musicians and painters, artists, they feel so satisfied. Their life is so fulfilling because continuously they are giving birth. When they really deliver something out of their heart, they feel so satisfied, overflowing, fulfilled. When a woman gives birth to a child, when she becomes mother, she is feeling a fulfillment. She achieves a fulfillment. She is overflowing. Same way, when an artist gives birth to a painting or a poet or poem or a music, something or a sculpture, he just feels overflowing. He feels fulfilled because the Hridgarbha, it happens in his art. He conceives the concept in his art and works on it. Suddenly, one day he is delivering baby, delivering a child, his art, his music, his painting. It happens in the higher level, Anahata Chakra, Hridgarbha, the ultimate Jnana Garbha, which happens in the Sahasrara Chakra, higher level. In Jnana Garbha, you conceive all these spiritual ideas into your head and you work with them. Suddenly you wake up and give birth to yourself as an enlightened being. That is Jnana Garbha. 3 levels of Garbha. Bhugarbha is the ordinary level. Very few people reach the level of Hridgarbha, giving birth to a poetry or giving birth to a beautiful structure, giving birth to a painting, giving birth to a art. The level of Anahata, ultimately the Jnanagarbha, conceiving the Master's teachings and his presence into your Sahasrara Chakra, working with yourself and suddenly giving birth to yourself as an enlightened being. Just receive this concept of surrender. Just receive this truth of surrender and let you work on this truth. Suddenly you will wake up and you will give birth to yourself as an enlightened being. As an enlightened being. The moment you understand, whether you understand or not, you belong to the ocean. You are from it, you are in it, you will disappear into it. You suddenly understand, you realize you will never die because you are ocean. As long as you identify yourself as a bubble, you will have insecure feeling. Instinct to survive and instinct to possess will always be there, torturing your being. The moment you understand, there is no need for instinct to survive because I am utterly secured. I am ocean. The moment you understand you are ocean, the instinct to survive disappears because there is no need to survive. There is nothing called death happens to you. There is nothing called death exists for you. As long as you think you are bubble, you need to survive. There is death for you, fear, and instinct to survive. The moment you understand you are ocean, you will not die. You will understand there is no death. Then there is no question of insecurity. Naturally, there is no question of instinct to survive. And the moment you understand you are ocean, nothing to possess. Everything belongs to you. Nothing to possess. The instinct to possess will disappear. Here, I am not asking you to legally throw away all the things. That's what Krishna says. You don't have to throw all your actions. You don't have to throw whatever you have done for I and mine. Just do not internalize them. Internally, let you be aware you are something far more higher than all these things. Far more superior than all these things. How? At the age of 7, toys are your life. But now, neither you feel attached with them, nor you renounce them. You are neither renounced, nor you feel attached. They are just there, you are here, that's all. Do you feel, I should go back to the house, my toys are there, I left all the toys in the house, I should go back to the house? No. Do you feel, no, I should renounce all my toys? This nonsense is torturing my mind and my life. No. You neither feel attached nor feel detached. You are out of it. You are beyond it. Raga means attachment. Araga means detachment. Viraga means beyond the attachment. Vairagya towards the toys have happened in your life. Same way, when you understand you are ocean, Vairagya towards 2-3 sand pieces which you collected, and the Vairagya towards the bubbles which you have kept around you will happen. You will suddenly realize you are beyond the instinct of survival and instinct of possessiveness. Instinct to survive and instinct to possess will disappear in your being. I am not saying all your properties will disappear. No, they will all be there. You will really start living them, enjoying them much more intensely. Now you will not take them for granted. You will not feel bored. Same house, same wife, same life. You will not feel bored. You take them for granted when you think they are your properties. The moment you understand, any moment they will disappear. They will be taken away from you. You will disappear from this life. You will never take them for granted. You will start living them. Whether it is material life or spiritual life, the moment you surrender and awaken to the truth, you are ocean, you will be transformed in the level of body, mind and conscious. Consciousness also will be completely transformed. Please be clear, you will give birth to yourself. Krishna goes much deeper than these 3 level surrenders. Surrender of intellect, surrendering the intellect means trusting the master's intellect more than your intellect. Surrendering the emotion means trusting the master's words, master's instruction much more than your emotions. Surrendering the senses means trusting the master's words and instructions much more than your senses. Now Krishna goes much deeper than all these 3 levels by giving a deepest experience or glimpse of surrender to Arjuna.